Alright, this time on the Quick Speed Shop, I'm going to show you how I backdated the inside of my 1988 Ford Econoline van by using dash components and knobs from earlier vans to give it that late 70s flair. We've gone from the plain Jane black to the fancy wood grain and old chrome knobs. So if you want to see how I did it, I'm going to show you how I did that right now. I'm a professional, don't try this at home. Alright, bam, here we go. We're back working on the Boogie van. I've got some inside stuff I got to do today involving the steering and working on the dash electronics here and components. What I want to work on now is getting the steering column dialed in. This is the tilt column that came out of my 86 motorhome that I got outside. But the problem is this thing has no keys. So I've got to get into the column and fix all that. There's a way to get this lock cylinder out of here. And I just happen to have, right from the junkyard, a good lock cylinder. Look at this, I pulled out of another van. And there is a little pin right here that you turn the key ahead, and then this pin is able to be pushed. And you take like a little awl or something. There's a hole right here just above the hazard button. And you turn the key and push that in, and you could take your lock cylinder right out. Now that would be fine if I had the key for this one. I could just swap these out, but obviously I don't. So what I need to do is we're going to pull the steering wheel off first real fast, and then I need to get a drill, and I think I need to drill the little nub, drill it down. I think it's aluminum, might be steel. Anyways, drill it down flush with the top of this cylinder, which is pretty much junk because I don't have the key for it. Drill it down so I'm able to pull this out of here, and then I can take this new one and just put it in there and set it up, and then I'll have the ignition key for the van. So this steering wheel, usually you need a puller to get it off. I'll show you what it looks like in a second. This, we just loosely bolted her back on here. The top of the steering wheel, there's two screws on the bottom that come out, and then you got a couple of plug wire terminals for the horn and stuff to unplug. And then you usually need a puller to get this off. This has just been stuck on here. So you see here, there's two holes in this hub. You would get a puller that would bolt into this hub, and then it would push down on the shaft, and it would pop free. Since it's already been loose, we're good to go. Alright, so what we got here is the top of the steering column, and let me get a screwdriver or pusher device. Right here, this piece here, it goes down. This is your steering wheel lock and your shifter lock. These are your contacts for your horn, or this could be for cruise control. This steering column came out of a vehicle with cruise control. Here's your turn signal switch here. Now you see this one here. See this little piece that catches when you make the piece work? It's actually broken off on this side, so the right turn signal, if you want to put the right signal on, you got to hold it up on there. Now they sell these pieces, and usually like on a GM you can just switch them out and the wires come off, but on this one the wires are riveted right on integral, and then it's all tied together with the hazard switch and a bunch of other stuff. And I don't have a spare one, so actually, no, I don't think I do. So for now, I'm not going to fix this until I figure out what to do. If I get one, or it's a little more complicated on these Fords to change this, but I'll just have to hold the right turn signal up to so it doesn't, and it'll self-cancel when I let go. So what I got to do is get my drill out. We'll drill this hole out here and see if we can get that lock cylinder out of there. Alright, I think it needs a little bit bigger than an 1/8 inch. Okay, is that enough to do it? Maybe. Not quite. I took the, without tumbling this ahead, it's one of the problems. Come on, man. I'm afraid that, see, it's got this little tang on the bottom of the operates, and I'm afraid that maybe that's locked in there too. I don't know how to get it to rotate, because I drilled that right off. It seems like it should come out. Try a little persuasion. Come on, man. Get out of there. Oh, here we go. It wants to come. It wants to come. Yeah, there. Oh, what's it doing now? It's coming. Don't wreck the column. Slowly coming. Uh-oh. Oh, now I just broke the end of that off. Man, I wouldn't be good at stealing cars, I can tell you that. Nuts. Now what is the dealio thing? Oh, I'm gonna have to fight with this and wiggle it and play with it. See if I can get it popped out of here. Okay, I think I got it. Oh, yeah. Uh-oh. Well, this was a disaster and a half. I had to drill out the lock cylinder there. Where is it? Can you see it? I had to drill out the lock cylinder. And then there's this little engager on the end, which was holding it in. And I appear to have snapped it off. So my next parlor trick is going to be getting that out of the column here. Oh, looks like it shouldn't be too bad. Freaking aluminum in it. If I had a pair of needle nose pliers that were long. Whew! Got that out of there without wrecking everything. Alright, now I think I can get this out of here. Aha! There we go. Now, should be able to take our new lock cylinder. Alright, I gotta turn it all the way ahead so this little ignition pin, the little safety pin goes in. I should be able to just drop this right down in here, like so. Should go like that. Aha, there we go. Aha, bam! Now, I should crank it back. There we go, look at that! Ta-da! Bam! It's a little stiff because this column hasn't worked in a long time. It's locked in there. Look at that. The key works. We are good to go. My oh, that was broken. So now the park pawl works. I turn the key on. Look at that. It comes out of gear. So the ignition switch is actually broken without the key in it like that. So that locks good. Let me try the wheel. The wheel should be at lock too. Yep, look at that. Bam. So that's awesome. I have ignition for my van. Okay, you can see I got the center of the steering wheel put on now. The motorhome was an XLT, so it's got the wood grain. They also had cruise control, which this van doesn't have, so these buttons aren't going to do anything. But here's the horn piece here. The upper piece is a horn. This is really nice shape, so it's just a little bit dusty. This will clean up nice. I'll use a little bit of interior cleanup stuff and doll this up. But this steering wheel is mint, because that chassis only had 48,000 miles on it. So really, really nice steering wheel. It's not sticky. It's not all worn out. So I'm glad I got that in there. Now we're going to start working on putting a dash back together. As you can see, this van has the black, just a black plain XL black dash. If you had the XLT, you got the wood grain. Over here is the panel that goes on here. Ow. Over here is a panel that goes on for over here. It's got the modern style radio cut out and the controls there. It's all just the black plastic. You get the vents here through the ductwork. But what I want to do to continue the XLT wood grain, I want to switch over to a wooden XLT dash like this, and I want to put the old style radio on this, the knobs, because this, if I'm trying to replicate a 70s van, you wouldn't have had the modern style radio, would have had the old knob control radio. So fortunately my 82 box truck out back was an XLT with a wood interior, and it also has the earliest style radio. So I've gone to remove the dash out of that, and we're going to go and put that wood grain dash from that 82 in here. And you can see it says Ford over here by the vent controls. And something I was looking at, this is interesting, that van has factory air conditioning, but I assume this is at the factory, they went and added it into a non-AC panel. You can see where they saw this out and just kind of screwed this panel in here. And obviously it's from the factory because it's got a piece that fits around there. But they went and they did that, I'm going to guess, at the Ford factory to add the air conditioning. As you can see, the later model panels have the vents molded right in them correctly, right from Ford. They all got them there. So I'm going to guess that you didn't get vents in the dash unless you had air conditioning in the 70s and early 80s, and they added them right from the factory with that screwed in panel, so that's pretty cool. It also says Ford there, just in a small logo, instead of Econoline like they put on the later vans. I had gone to the junkyard and I pulled out a panel out of another van here. I've got the piece. I got a brand new headlight switch out of the junkyard. It's got the regular wipers. The headlight switch it's the correct piece. I believe this came out of a 89 or a 90, but it's the correct replace panel here. But since we're going to wood grain, I'm going to put the earlier one in, and let me show you that now. I'm going to be using the headlight switch out of the 82, which is this is the earlier style. See, it's got the chrome headlight switch control. It's got the chrome wipers. This actually has intermittent wipers, which is a factory add-on. There's an electric box inside this foam, and it just plugs in line of your factory wiper harness, and it gives you intermittent wipers. This is the switch, goes to intermittent in the middle, then you got high and low. So I'm going to put the intermittent wipers in. There's nothing else to do besides plug this factory edition box in, and this will go in. But there is a difference in these, which I just realized. See this here? See the vent here, which is ducted solid through the dash. This earlier panel doesn't have the ductwork, and the van actually had a corrugated tube, and it comes down and there's a screw-on aftermarket or add-on vent that goes down here on the kick panel. And I don't want to put that in. I just want to run this here. I'm not going to drive this van in the wintertime, so I'm not going to need a lot of heat ducts blowing on me. What I think I'm going to do is take this plastic ductwork out of here, and where it attaches, let's see if I can show you this quick. See here, it blows on the back and attaches onto this ductwork. I think I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to blank this off, and I'm going to cut a hole in the bottom of it, and I'm going to let it blow down underneath the dash, and the heat will come out under here. So when you got the vent on, you know, the vent for cool air outside or the heat vent, it'll just blow down under the dash. There's actually another duct that already does that, but I don't know what else to do with this. This goes on here like that, and I don't know what else to do with it. So over here on the bench, I've got the instrument cluster out of the box truck here, which has a wood grain surround, and I've got the instrument cluster out of the van with the 91,000 miles on it. You can see the dials are faded out. See, they should be orange, and they're faded to yellow. Here, these are still pretty much orange, but it's the same piece here. Salina, I think that's Salina, Kansas maybe, where this van probably was made. That's cool. Here's the back. It's just got all the your dash lights here. The speedometer cable just clips on here, and then the dash insert hooks on here, and it should be exactly the same on the back of this one. Yeah, right there. What's that say? 8/06/87. Let's see if there's a date on this one's 82. Yeah, right here. 01. Oh, I'm sorry. 10/13/82. So that's cool there. So I've got to take some screws out, these little screws here. I got to just unscrew the outside valence panel and switch it over. onto take the chrome one, or I'm sorry, take the chrome and wood grain one off the early dash and put it on this one so we can install this in the van. Okay, now when I put the radio in here, this radio, this would have been like the style radio. You would have had a digital radio, you know, with a square face, and then it would have gone right into the, right in here like this, bam, like that, and you would have had a modern style digital radio. This radio came out of 88 or 89 or 90, something like that van I got out of the junkyard. Let's see if there's a date on the back of it. Don't see the date. But anyways, it this is gonna be too modern for what I want to do with the van. I'm not even sure if this works. I hope that it works. But the plugs are actually a little bit different. But we're not going to put that digital radio in there. What I want to do is I'm just going to zip tie this harness out of the way. And I'm actually just going to dummy up the radio. Where can I zip tie this to? Probably up here. Or actually just kind of just don't want it rattling in here. But if I go and I jam it into the other wires. There we go. I'm going to put that out of the way because this is the radio I'm going to use. This is an old, this is out of the 82 box truck. This is an AM/FM Ford cassette, but it's got the old knobs on it. This is going to help me have the old style action. I've already gone and I zip tied the harness for this, which is completely different, out of the way. And here's the antenna cable. I'm just going to stick that in the back of the radio. There's a port here. I'm just not going to plug that in for now, just so it doesn't rattle around in the dash. It should plug right in, and then this is just going to simply go in here, like this, so should fit all the way. There we go. This screws to the dashboard like that, and then we'll put our stuff on it. So this isn't going to be functional, obviously, because I haven't plugged it in. I am going to put a sound system in the van. I'm going to have some kind of console maybe up here on the headliner or something like that with a hidden modern radio, like with a CD player and stuff. And I'll run that, and I'm going to put some new speakers in the van and have a separate standalone radio system. So this is just going to be for looks when you're looking in the van. So I'm going to go ahead and install this radio, then we'll get out the wood grain bezel, and we'll install that on here. We'll take a look at that. Okay, so I cleaned the bezel up that's going to go on here. Just a little bit of Windex. I got to plug in the cigarette lighter right here in the back. Bink, like that. Now this should just go right in there like that. Look at that. That's mint. And I got a couple of spring clips I got to press in here. Looks like we got one, I guess. It's supposed to be two. One's missing. That's all right. Screw action. Look at that. Perfect. Ow. Gotta come get in the shot for a second. There we go. Oh man, it's gonna be sweet. So that's gonna be awesome. And for a second, I cleaned up all the chrome on the knobs. We'll throw the escutcheons on and then the knobs on here on the radio. But you can see it's really got the old time look. It's pretty awesome. You bop around the other side, we'll put the screws in, then we'll put the chrome knobs on. The one in the center, I'll leave that on for now. So now I got the chrome escutcheons to clean them up. They cleaned up pretty nice. And there's a little D ring here. They just kind of face the same, the D they clip on here onto the shaft. Like that. And this is like your fade and your back and forth, your speakers front and rear. Man, these are slippery now that I cleaned them up. Slippery. They just press on, and then your knobs just press on. They got a little, same thing, the D that hooks on. They just go like that. Look at that. So you got the tunage now. You got the tuner working. It's got a little bit of slop in it. Then you got the on and off there, and you can dial up your set your preferred. You got AM/FM cassette. But look at that. That's a vintage look to backdate the van just a little bit. Looks way better than this modern, you know, digital radio. So at a glance, the people are going to see the round headlights. They'll poke their head in the window. They'll see the old knobs on the dash and the old logo here on there, and they'll be like, "Oh, this looks like it's actually like a late '70s van instead of an '88." Now we have gone and put the cleaned up instrument cluster in. I've got to take some chrome polish or wax. I got to clean I got a little bit of rust on the shifter here. We'll clean this up, and the wood grain is the most faded on the wheel. It must be a different material. It's a little faded compared to here, but it's looking pretty sweet. Now we're going to come over here. We're going to finish it up with the windshield wiper panel. I got to unplug this. I got to change the wiper switch because this switch connector is different on the older switches than it is on the newer style switches. So I actually got to take the wipers or the headlight switch out of here and switch it over. Okay, here's a tech tip for you when you got to get a headlight switch out. It's your standard push-pull headlight switch. This applies to Ford and GM, pretty much all standard headlight switches, Mopar. So it screws through the escutcheon, screws the headlight switch in, but you got the knob here. How do you get rid of that? Well, if you look on the top of the switch, there's a little spring-loaded plug right here, or a plunger. With your thumb, you push the plunger down, then you go up to the front of the thing here. You just pull on the shaft, and it should come out of there. That plunger, there we go. The plunger, see the little end there's a little detent on it. The plunger grabs onto that. So now I got my shaft out of there, I can go and take the escutcheon and remove the escutcheon here, like so. And then your headlight switch comes right out. So the reason I did that is this is the modern style headlight switch that fits the wiring in the truck. I actually swapped this into this instrument cluster piece when I bought it in the junkyard. This piece had an older switch in it, but the van next door had the brand new switch, so I went and I swapped the new switch into this before I bought it. That way I got a brand new part for no cost more than buying a used part. And now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna install it in the wood grain cluster by using my chrome knob and chrome escutcheon for that, but I'll have the brand new headlight switch in there. Got the wood grain panel ready to install. I got my new headlight switch mounted on the back. I got my intermittent wipers here. I've cleaned everything up, and now this is simply going to go over here. I'm going to take my I got a wire here, blue and black. This is for the dash lights, for the lights up the wiper switch there. So I'll plug that in first. It's got a super long pigtail on it. That'll get out of the way. Get in there. Then I've got my pigtail. This is for the wiper, for the regular wipers, and it plugs into the extension on this box for the intermittent wipers. Here. Get in there. Bam, like that. And then I've got the headlight switch on the bottom. There we go. Alright, bam, there we go. It's plugged in. The intermittent wiper box with the foam on it goes back in there. Just kind of wad all our wires back into the hole. I don't know why they're fighting me to get in there. Alright. I got two, my head's probably in the way right now, but I got two spring clips up top. There we go, snap them in. Then put my bottom screws in and we'll be all dashed out. Now where's my Phillips screwdriver? Come on, man. So now I've successfully backdated my 88 van to look a little bit older. Got all the old style chrome knobs. I've got the AM/FM cassette radio, and I've got the earlier style logo and the wood grain dash with the wood grain wheel. So it's got the XLT dash in it now, but I like the wood grain. It's going to go with my 70s theme. I've got the tilt column installed with a new ignition cylinder, and there's only one more thing to notice. This shift indicator is just got regular drive because this is out of a 3-speed C6 big block van. The original column for this van would have said overdrive because I have the AOD transmission hooked to the engine, but the shift pattern is the same. They don't give you like 4, 3, 2, 1 with the overdrive. They just give you OD on the drive and then 2, 1 as well. So there's no way to, there's not like an extra shifting pattern on the column. They just change this upper piece. So for the look of the older van, I'm going to leave the regular just standard 3-speed transmission indicator on the top of this, so people think that's an older van, obviously, because they won't see the overdrive, which didn't come on until the mid 80s. So we have successfully backdated the inside of this van to look more retro. The only indication that this is not a 70s van is instead of having the ignition switch on the column, the ignition switch would have been over here to the left of the headlight switch, and the key would have gone in here and hung in this spot here, and that's where ignition would have been on the 75 to 79 vans, I believe. I think when they went to the square headlights, so maybe 75 to 78, probably when they went to the square headlights in 79, they probably moved the keys over to the column. I'm going to guess, because I haven't seen, I don't have one to look at right now, but I'm going to guess that's when they switched it over. But essentially, this is pretty much old school action here. It'll fool enough people where they look in, and it'll look old, and this van will have the old time look. So that's a win for today. One more step close to getting this van ready. I've got to cover this up now so I don't spray all my new clean dash with sparks and ruin everything here, but I really like the look of that. They came out mint, and I think it was worth, and luckily I had 3 trucks to steal parts out of so I could do this backdate action, but it looks mint. I'm really happy with it. Bam, that's a win.